When the presidential elections are over and the electoral votes are tallied, the Roys are compelled to act as the kingmakers in the 8th episode of Season 4. Roman and Shiv are attempting to get an advantage for their candidates, so Tom is under pressure to produce an outstanding news report of the election results. The decision is ultimately left up to Kendall, and if you're wondering who Waystar supports, here is everything you need to know about the ending of Succession Season 4 Episode 8. The opening scene of the 8th episode, titled America Decides, shows Tom and Greg getting ready for the election polls broadcast. Tom is uneasy, and a call from Kendall puts even more pressure on him to provide thorough coverage of the election race's closing stages. Greg tells Tom about his night out with Matsson and his gang as the journalism staff examines the coverage. However, Greg is unclear about what to do now that he has won over Lucas Matsson's favor. The Democratic candidate for president, Daniel Jimenez, is currently ahead in the vote count, according to exit surveys. Shiv and Roman quarrel about Jimenez and Jared Mencken, as they'd back either candidate as a result. Later, Shiv tells Matsson in a private conversation that Jimenez is in the lead, which is advantageous for them since he is not likely to obstruct Gojo's acquisition of Waystar Royco. Matsson admits that he had spoken with Greg. Shiv continues to communicate with Nate Safrelli as she works to advance her cause of Jimenez. Kendall talks to Jimenez and calls Nate. He makes vain attempts to get Jimenez to assist him in preventing Matsson from attempting to acquire Waystar. Therefore, Mencken's victory in the election is Kendall's best wager, because it will ensure that the agreement will be blocked. When Mencken and Roman first meet, Mencken declares his desire to do business with Roman, even if he loses the election this time around. Shiv and Roman soon begin making connections to make sure that their nominee receives the most media possible. Tom starts to feel the pressure and starts directing Greg in other places. Later, he makes Greg do cocaine with him. As polls close nationwide, Connor Roy realizes he has a long way to go before winning the election. As a result, Connor works with Roman to try to accept the ambassadorial position Mencken offers him. Tom manages a technical issue when ballots for Wisconsin elections disappear due to a fire. Tom's poor leadership causes mayhem in the newsroom. Shiv later tries to make amends with Tom. Shiv says she's pregnant, but Tom thinks it's just another justification for her behavior. Shiv and Roman have a disagreement on the events in Wisconsin. Shiv thinks the undecided votes should be counted, whereas Roman thinks Mencken should be declared the state's winner. After much deliberation, Roman declares Mencken's victory behind Shiv's back, giving him a slim lead in the close election contest. In the meantime, Connor also backs Mencken, giving the latter additional traction in the contest. If Greg tells her brothers about her relationship with Matsson, Shiv vows to destroy him. Mencken is leading, so Roman tries to persuade Kendall to declare the election winner or risk losing Mencken's support. ATN's high-octane coverage of a tight election battle is featured in the episode. However, after declaring Wisconsin a victory for Mencken, the news network's credibility is in jeopardy. Kendall is under pressure to render the decision because the election will ultimately be decided by a slim margin. He is hesitant to support Mencken because of his fascist worldview, though. However, supporting Jimenez does not guarantee that the sale of Waystar to Gojo would be stopped. Thus, Kendall is in a difficult situation and asks Shiv for guidance regarding the decisive action. Shiv sees it as an opportunity to persuade Kendall to support Jimenez and make sure he does so. Later, Shiv pretends to speak with Jimenez over the phone to reassure Kendall that he will block the deal. Shiv's lies are revealed when Kendall calls Nate for confirmation. Greg confirms to Kendall that Shiv has been coordinating with Matsson to make sure the deal closes. Kendall makes the decision to back Mencken as a result, and he calls in the final decision declaring Mencken the new president of the United States. Kendall worries that he has struck a pact with the devil. Shiv reaches her lowest point and teams up with Matsson to destroy her brothers. Tom is criticized in the meantime for declaring an early winner in the election and for his generally contentious coverage of the polls. Despite ATN's schemes and Mencken being named the next president, the episode closes without a clear victor. On the surface, it appears that Shiv came in last in the biggest power race the nation has ever seen, with Kendall and Roman getting what they desired. On the other hand, Kendall appears hesitant to make business decisions and will almost definitely want Roman's assistance if he wishes to keep his position as CEO of Waystar. The power struggle inside the Roy family is profoundly affected by the political conflict, and the episode finishes with a distinction being made between Roman and Kendall and Shiv and Matsson.